What's up, everybody? Look at that. I have a guest. I told you I was going to do it. I told you I was going to do it. And who better than my first subscriber, Paul Clayton? I don't know if he still is, but that's okay because that was like 5 years ago. He was number one. So, for those of you that don't know, Paul, ex-racer, turned news network, turned promoter, has a race this weekend at his home track. And I did a poor job because I wanted to actually have Paul on a couple times to kind of talk about this because I really appreciate what he's trying to do. But hey, we got him on tonight, and that's what matters. So yeah, welcome, Paul.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, brother, I'm in the studio and I'm actually warm because I got my little heater on, and this is only a 10 by 10 room, so it actually heats up nice compared to my pole barn with no ceiling. So for having a snowstorm outside, we're doing all right. So
Yeah, you looked like you were freezing the last 2 nights, especially the night before last.
dude, yeah, last night wasn't quite as bad, but the other night was bad. I've had a couple. It's getting just cold enough, and slowly working on getting a pull bar. And like I can work on something out there if I needed to, like work on a car, but I've got everything rearranged trying to get it so that I can be, kind of warm in there. I don't have to wear a winter coat to film videos,
Thought you
So
were doing trusses on that thing 2 years ago.
yeah, three, like 2-3 years. It's been an adventure. That was the thing is the wife came out the other night, and I was like, man. Like, because I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. And she's like, yeah, but last winter, you didn't have any walls. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Like, like we've come a long way. So, in the eyes of the government, it's done. So that's what matters. But all right. So I have to ask you this first before we kind of get, well, I'll tell you what, let's get into this just a little bit so people can watch if they're first tuning in. This weekend, the Alligator Showdown at All Tech Raceway.
Yep.
Okay. This is your home track, right?
It's I work at this track. I mean, my home track is North Florida Speedway. That's where I started racing at, right next to the house. But this is 10 miles down the road. I actually work at both racetracks now. But yeah, I spent a lot of time at All Texas.
Gotcha. Now, dirt front wheel drives are not a thing in Florida. Like, you guys don't really have them down there at all, do you?
We the past couple of years it's been pretty rough. It's we've lost East Bay. They were full time at East Bay. They ran every time there. They had a pretty good car count. We lost Volusia for a little while. They've run one off at Volusia, a very short periods of time or random races. Bubba's, they don't run hardly ever there. All Tech has never ran them as a local class, but North Florida Speedway runs them full time stock division. So yeah, it's in pretty rough shape in Florida, and I definitely that's the whole purpose of creating a series is to attempt to grow the sport. I don't know if it's possible, especially with Crown Vics getting to where they are now. And we all knew Crown Vics was coming. I'm not upset by it. It's just part of evolution, the next budget class. But I don't know if it can be revived with Crown Vic racing as strong as it is now. We get 30 cars at All Tech Raceway on a regular Saturday night nowadays with Crown Vic. It's hard to compete with that, and they're running for $300 to win.
Yeah. And the Crown Vics now, right this minute, are my guess is it's a bunch of front wheel drive guys, or former front wheel drive guys, or who would be front wheel drive guys, because it's the budget class if nobody's running front wheel drives. But I said it when this first started getting big. Every track started jumping on the Crown Vics. It won't be long, and it'll peter off. And I don't mean that negatively. Like I think it's a great idea. I think rear wheel drives need a stock entry level class as well. But the issue is that, like, around here, people they announce that class. People could snap up $500, $700 cars, throw a cage in it. Hey, we're racing for next to nothing. And then all of a sudden, those cars are $1,500, $2,500.
Oh yeah,
$3,500. And it just gets bigger and bigger. So the class is going to get more expensive. People will kind of come back, or the cars will get more expensive, and then you'll have an outlaw Crown Vic and a stock front. So
Well, they do some of the tracks in Georgia do a pro and a junior, which is the same car, but experience level wise. But
yeah,
I Crown Vic definitely hit a spot that it's not surprising when you look back at it, but I think it still hasn't caught on like nationwide yet. They're still slowly moving across the nation, but it's definitely tough to compete with it. It's tough to as much stuff that goes into a front wheel drive and where they are at now to get somebody to pull out of their driveway for, X amount of dollars.
yeah. Well, and that goes to, we just talked about this last night, and that was the thing that I was on. I still think a guy. I think tracks need a $2,500 front wheel drive class that you can put a
Yeah,
good cage in it. You can have good safety equipment. You can go run. You can go run up front in your class for $2,500. 3 or
absolutely.
I think it needs that, and that's what Crown Vics are kind of. But it's
Hmm.
also one like we're significantly faster than the Crown Vics at the few tracks I've raced against them, but we're front wheel drive guys, and that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You never catch me dead in one of those. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm 4 seconds faster than you, but you do you. Like
I
so. I
think one,
I get the
but
appeal of the Crown Vics.
yeah,
It's just
the one thing that I've noticed about the Crown Vic is, and this is my last thing I'll say about them, is they're not getting the hate. Now, they are getting the hate because they are on small DOT tires and they spin out and they crash. That's what they do. But and they have long features. I mean, I've had I don't know their race cars and everything going on there. I apologize, but I've had Crown Vic races, go quick, and I've had them last all night long. But I think the Crown Vics are getting the hate that the front wheel drive got with a lot of guys because I'm seeing a lot of V8 guys hop into Crown Vics. I'm seeing we had a late model driver getting a Crown Vic at All Tech Raceway this year and win almost every race this year. But our rule at All Tech Raceway is you can't drive another class, when
uh,
you're running Crown Vic. So guess what? He was coming running Crown Vic every weekend. And he'd go off and run his late models in a Southern Clash race or something, when Alltech wasn't racing. But his boys raced in the class, and he won. And that got a lot of complaints, but that's not something you can police. You can't tell a guy. You can tell a guy, yeah, you can't run any other class or not, but you can't be like, oh, you're a late model driver. You cannot be in this class. I mean, it's not a it's a
it's
budget class, not a beginner class.
it's
I guess
fun
there's
because you can police that, but then people start getting mad because where do you
yeah.
draw the line?
Yeah.
If they used to drive a street stock, can they do it? If they used to drive a modified, if they used to drive a pure stock,
Mhm.
if they used to drive an A mod, a B mod, a C mod, a D mod, an E mod, an F mod, a G mod, however many they have.
Florida mod.
Uh, yeah, Florida mod late, mod lights, mod heavies, mod middles, a crate mod, a
PQ.
crate late, like yeah, like that's the thing is, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's the
It's
that's
easy.
the thing is
It's easier not to draw the line, especially when you
yeah,
got
yeah,
34 cars showing up for
yeah,
$500. I
yeah,
mean, obviously he's not running them off yet,
yeah, yeah, and
but
that's I'm happy to see tracks have good car counts, and like if
yeah.
Crown Vics can do it up here around us, we've got some traction in kind of Indiana and Ohio with the Crown Vic
Hmm.
stuff. And they're trying really hard to get it at a couple racetracks up here in Michigan. But like, I won't lie, like I've looked through the Facebook marketplace, like I check junkyards and stuff, and like if they get one of them classes up here, it won't be anything for guys to have $8,000-$10,000 cars because by the time they
Oh
buy
yeah.
a car for $3,500, put $1,500 in it, and then go through it and stuff like that. So I'll be interested to see what happens when it comes around. But
Mhm.
until then, we're here to talk about front wheel drives. So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so I gotta ask here. This is the big thing for me. What the hell made you decide to go? Because I know I want to promote a race. I want
Yeah.
to promote a race, right? Like I get that one. What made you go, man, I want to be a series promoter and then I want to promote a 10K to win race? Like what flipped that switch in you to decide that that's what you want to do?
Well, I always wanted, when I got big into the sport, I always wanted all the guys that I go race with out of town. I said, man, I really want y'all to come to my home. I come to your homes all the time. I want y'all to come down. We were fortunate enough to get an SCDRA race down here a couple of years ago. And it was great having them down there. But you know, I got to thinking, I was like, man, I want a race. I want a big race. I want it to be my race. Similar to the King of Compacts. And now that race has a lot of history built on it, and it survives on that history. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this year to run that race, but that's what I started. I was like, man, I want to run something like that. I want to build on this one race a year, put all my effort into it. And then the series started. I always wanted to do a series too. I just didn't know how to do it. And when you're not involved with the racetracks, it seems impossible. When you don't have those kind of conversations. But now that I'm involved with All Tech Raceway, and I'm involved with North Florida Speedway, and I have all these other racetracks where I know the promoters just from, they're involved with a series that comes in. I've finally built relationships with all these people that I feel confident that I can go to one of them and be like, hey, I want to run a race at this track. And, and that's kind of how that happens. Now, am I going about it the right way? I don't know. I'm throwing money at the wall and I hope it sticks. And that may that and everybody can't do that. Some people build from the ground up and they start with no money and they ask and they finally get a break. And I'm doing the opposite approach. I'm throwing money at the wall and I hope it sticks and I hope I don't have to throw money at it in the future. I'm investing
Yeah.
in it in a
Yeah.
way, and it may or may not work. I just want to get through. I ran my first series race last week, and be honest with you, I only had about four cars that conform to the rules for that class. Everybody else was leftovers that ran the the stock feature earlier that day, which was going to be on Friday night. But they stayed in because I waived the entry fee, and I'm like, I want everybody to come race with
Yeah.
us, whatnot. But that's a part of building it. And
Yeah.
does it need to be SCDRA rules? That's something I'll have to look at. Like it's a lot of stuff. Right now, I'm just kind of throwing money at the wall and hope it sticks, and then I'll reevaluate after.
Well, the whole thing with this is it's 1,000 to start, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've if I've read this correctly over the last bit, like if you have 5 cars, you're gonna pay everybody. If you have
Yeah. Yeah.
the full
I
field,
actually,
you're gonna pay everybody.
I
So
actually would save money if only 5 cars showed up. So,
at least
but
like
yeah,
20 grand. I don't know
yeah,
what the pay structure is, but you figure at 1,000 to win if you only have 20 or you only have 5 instead of 25, you save 20 grand. So
24 car starting field, and I posted all sorts of stuff, and I promoted this race in the only way I know how to, and it's really not the proper way to promote it, and that was just by making a whole bunch of Facebook posts over and over and over again, and new ideas and whatnot. I don't have a website. Have people told me I need a website? Absolutely. Um,
do you know what I've
and
never done for a big race, Paul?
what's
I've
that?
never went to the website.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say this. I've gone to a series website for the
Mm.
rules, right?
Yeah.
So like I've gone to the VCTS website for the rules, but I've
Mhm.
never gone to a website for information on a big race. You know where I go?
Yeah.
Facebook.
Basically. Yeah. Well,
So
and another thing with me is I know on some racetracks, and I'm not going to name racetracks, they'll do a live video and they will give all their information in that live video. And guess what? I'm not going to do. I'm not going to scrub through that live video to get
yep.
all the information. I want
Yep.
it structured in a post that I can read and make sense of. Um, but definitely there'll be things that I'm learning. I'm learning. Uh,
Well, after this weekend, you and I will talk because I
yeah.
do have a vision that I want
Mhm.
to promote a race. Like I have a race in mind that I want to do.
Mhm.
And it's one of those of like it's a goal of mine. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I couldn't run a $10 to start race right now and pay for it out of pocket. So that's the
Yeah.
part I gotta figure out, So
Yeah.
that's what stopped us.
Mhm.
That's what stopped me from throwing a bunch of cash at you this weekend.
Yeah.
When we first started talking about this, I told you I'd like to sponsor something, but
Mhm.
then I just haven't been in a position to. So
Mhm.
don't think I forgot about you. I just,
No, no, no. Listen, I got so much money coming in for different contingencies that I'm
yeah,
having to make up stuff to figure out where to put money at. Do I wish it was going in my pocket? Absolutely. But guess what? People love to give money when they know it's going directly to a driver. Like for whatever reason. And that's fine. That's awesome. I hope that helps the car count.
yeah,
But if I had to do it over again, that would before I start doing contingency would be to fill out my sponsorship that I'm putting back in my pocket
yeah,
because it's a lot of money in this race.
yeah,
The purses, the added up purse, and I've like I was about to say a minute ago, I've said all sorts of different things, and maybe my math wasn't right, but the purse with 24 cars starting the field is 36 or $37,000. That's with 20. That's not provisional. That's
yeah,
everybody that races their way into the
yeah.
race.
Yeah, and that's well, I mean, you got to figure if there's 24, 24 cars, you're at 24
Mm.
grand at 1,000 to start. You
Right off
tack
the rip.
10 grand on there for to win, which
Mm.
that's 9,000 extra. So you're at
Yeah.
30, you're at 33 right there. That's just
Yeah.
1,000 to start, and that. So like, and
Mhm.
that's why all the credit to putting it out there that this isn't nothing will get me to not want to show up to a race that doesn't have a giant entry list by
Mhm.
saying car count dependent. And
Yeah,
then,
absolutely.
like that's a big one. Like for me as a
Yeah.
racer, like I don't mind traveling. You came to watch me race in Florida, like
Mhm.
you know, um actually that was one of my favorite things that happened that weekend when I was down there. Paul come up
Mm.
afterwards and I finished fourth in the B main and I was pretty dejected. And Paul's like, that's the first time I've ever actually got to watch you race because he got to see me
Mhm.
race at Eldora, but let's be honest, I
Mhm.
wasn't racing at Eldora.
Mhm.
And Paul came up and was like, dude, that's the first time I've ever got to watch you actually race. He's like, you can wheel the shit out of that thing. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I didn't do nothing. So yeah, so like
Mm.
I'm not afraid to travel,
Yeah.
but it's one if it's like, oh, it's 10 grand to win 1,000 to start with 35 cars in the field. Well, how
Mhm.
many cars you got? Well, we've got cars coming. Well, how many cars you got? Well, we got cars
Mm.
coming. Like,
Yeah.
brother, like if Midwest or if the National Series or SCDRA or VCTS said, "Hey, this is contingent on 30 cars showing up," but that race that they've always had has averaged 105, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why, major props to you actually putting it out there. Like if 5 cars shows up, we're paying 10 grand
Mhm.
to win and 1,000 to start. If
Yeah.
do you know offhand? Paul did warn me he forgot that I asked him yesterday to come on the show.
Yeah.
So to be fair, he was supposed to be at work. So which
Yeah.
it
Yeah. I'm
kind of
not.
depends at work.
I'm not at work. Yeah, I'm not at
Yeah,
work. This
kind
is
of
this
does.
is not my job. If y'all are
Yeah,
wondering.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he forgot that he was going to come on tonight. Luckily he still did, but he didn't bring any of his paperwork. So do you
Yeah. I
remember
got
offhand
nothing.
what the pay structure is of first
Yeah. Yeah.
down
That
through?
that that's an easy one because it drops off to the 1,000 pretty quick. I mean, be mad if you want, but that's still a $37,000 verse. But it's going to be 10 grand, 3 grand, 2 grand, 1,500, 1,250, and then 1,000 through the field.
Okay. Listen,
Yeah.
if somebody's mad that sixth place or seventh place paid $1,000 and
Yeah.
24th paid 1,000, cool. You should have finished in the money. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, I hate to see 10 grand to win, 100 to start.
Yeah.
That to me, listen, let's
Mhm.
spread it out. But I
Yeah.
don't mind if it goes 10, 5, 3, 2, 1, 15, 12, 1. I don't mind that
Hmm.
because it stays
Hmm.
at 1. Like,
Yeah.
I I've won some 1,000 to win races. I've never had 1,000 to start race. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big one. And when I first come out with this idea and posted, I was like, man, I ain't never heard of anything like this. And then all of a sudden somebody said, oh yeah, this racetrack over here is running 20,000 to win, 2,000 start. And I'm like, well, darn, I'm
for
not
front wheel
competing with
drive,
that. Yeah, it was some Paragon, no, somewhere in Indiana or something. I don't know where. I looked it up, and it was a scheduled race. It ended up not being 20,000, 2,000 to start. They
You know
ended up
what?
cutting the
You
purse.
know what? Was that the just in time race?
No, 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 no. This was this year. Like they
Okay.
ran the race already, but it was a 10 grand. I don't know if it was 10 grand 1K to start, but anyways, I was man. I wanted to be the first. Ain't nothing like this, but it's all good. It's all good. It's still a solid purse, and there should be 150 cars there. Will there be 150 cars there? No, but it'd be cool if there was. I would break even. It would make monetarily sense to run it again.
Do you have it announced or whatnot for it? Let's say you get 50 cars and you need to run do you have the format or whatever? Are you going to run an A, a B, a
The
C? Are you going to run
for
multiple B mains? Like,
No, the format, I've got a format worked out. And it's really all dependent on car count. Like I
right,
can't say,
right,
like I have 6 heat races scheduled and they are all sponsored 250 to win. But if we get there on Friday and there's only 24 cars there, it'd be hard to run 6 heat races. Just based on
yeah,
based on your car
yeah,
count. So, but I fully expect to have enough cars to run 6 heat races. So the format, be advised, this is not set in stone, subject to change. But my format will be a qualifying section, and hopefully I have enough cars. I'm gonna break them up in Group A and Group B. So that's something totally different right there, right off the rip. They're never separated. If we go to Scrubbing, we got over 100 cars. They all qualify in the same group, no matter what. So we're doing Group A, Group B. Group A will fill out heat races 1, 2, and 3. Group B will be 4, 5, and 6. Um, the fast qualifier in each group will lock into the race. They won't have to run a heat race.
okay,
So I'm locking 2 guys in qualifying. I'm not. That's all I'm locking in qualifying. You don't have to run the heat race. So then we're going to come back. We're going to run our heat races, and a certain amount of cars will transfer from the heat races. Has not been announced based on car count. Will transfer to the feature from the heat races. It'll be 2 or 3, basically. 2 or 3 cars will go from the heat race to the feature. We'll come back on Saturday night. If I have to run 2 B mains, it'll probably be top 5 from each. If I have to run 3 B mains, it'll be top 3 from each, and then I'll run some sort of dash to fill out the 24th spot, just to make
gotcha,
the numbers work out. So when I added those 2 locked in qualifiers, that totally screwed up the math if you had to run 3 B mains. So
gotcha.
that's why I would have to run some sort of dash. Maybe the 2 guys that didn't make it into the feature would run the dash, out of each B main,
Yeah,
6 cars, 3 or 4 laps, or
gotcha.
something like that.
So I'm going to ask you something as a racer. Okay.
Hmm.
When I went down there to watch Screven, okay,
Yeah.
brother, watching the B mains and timing out after 2 laps in some of them, like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
in my opinion, this is me as a racer, okay? Because we do things different on the asphalt side. We don't
Yeah.
we don't do this
Mhm.
race through the heats and features for a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But watching these guys just absolutely tear the bullshit out of each other. Like, can you just tell the guys like, hey, we're gonna give you all 15 laps or however many laps you're gonna go.
Oh yeah.
But like, hey guys, like just everybody chill out. Like just
Well, and you got to think about the style of racetrack you're on.
yeah,
A lot of blame goes to drivers, but a style of racetrack can steer it in that direction, can allow guys
yeah,
to make, you know, boneheaded moves. Alltech Raceway is pretty wide track. It's not a racetrack where you get a lot of that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And now does it happen? Absolutely. Um, but I think we'll be all right there. But yeah, we're gonna definitely try to get our stuff in. We are the highest paying class that weekend. We are us and the sprint cars are co-main events. So we're not going to be cutting stuff loose. And each night it's not like we got a whole bunch of racing going on. Friday
Yeah.
night, I only got Crown Vics racing a full show. Sprint cars are just
Okay.
practicing on Friday night. Saturday night, sprint cars are doing a full show. We're doing B mains a feature, and the Crown Vics are doing a full show. So it's not like we're pressed for time. It's not like we're going to be there till midnight trying to get this thing done.
Yeah.
It's now somebody's going to come back and say Saturday night we're going to be late, and they're going to be like, "Well, you said that on the video." Well, in theory it shouldn't be a long night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like we're running 8 classes like we're at some racetrack in North Georgia or Tennessee that's going to take all night long.
Well, that is the thing is like I will give them the credit. Like that is the thing is I love what Kelly and Red Net are doing at Screven with the fact they're
Hmm.
holding this 20,000 win race. Like I give them all the credit
Hmm.
for it. They're one of 8 classes.
Yeah.
And the year I went, everybody got one qualifying session. There was
Hmm.
no practice. And
Yeah.
the track was not good to start that qualifying session.
Hmm.
So you had a lot of guys that would not have normally had to come through a B main. They were starting deep in a B main. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of other circumstances, but
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, guy. Watching that race at Screven was one where I left and I was like, I'm not sure I want to build a car for that. Like that race was bad watching them B mains and stuff. Because I'm not timing in the A main. Like I'll tell you that right
Hmm.
now. Like whatever I build, I know I'm not timing in the A first time out. So that one was just a little rough to watch.
I
So
feel like this year the racing's been pretty good. You haven't had a whole lot of just shit
yeah,
show, so to speak.
yeah,
It's been solid now. Half of our races got rained out, so there's that too. But
yeah,
it's been a pretty solid year. Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of controversy or anything like that.
yeah,
The guys race each other pretty well. They're not, especially the fast guys. They're not going out there taking each other out. They
yeah.
race each other hard. And but All Tech Raceway is
So
you gotta be more worried about how your car is handling at All Tech more than anything. You got to get on the racetrack. You're going to be flipping and sliding around.
I
Yep.
got here. We got this is Alltech.
Yep.
I don't know how well you can see it here.
I can see it.
Paul's on his phone, so it's a little
Yeah.
harder. But yeah, this is Alltech. I mean, it does look like a fairly decent size. How big is it?
It's a half mile.
Half mile. Okay. Yeah.
Half
So I
mile,
mean,
but
it's a big
It's
track.
not.
So,
It's a half mile, but it's not Volusia Speedway Park. You're not going
yeah.
out there and
Yeah.
running a ridiculous speed around All Tech Raceway.
Yeah.
You're not going to Eldora. It's not like Eldora. It slicks off. It gets slippery. It slows down at All Tech.
Yeah. 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 So there you go. Alltech. I realized that I could do that, and I was like, ooh, I should get
Yeah,
this.
it hasn't been an asphalt track or it hasn't been a dirt track for very long. It used to be an asphalt track.
Okay.
Columbia Motorsports Park. It's had some big names race there when it was an asphalt track. That's actually the track where Ricky Carmichael made his first ever laps in a stock car. Um,
Okay.
when he was trying to do his little NASCAR thing, had
That is
Mark
not
Martin as
been
a
there that long. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
had Mark Martin coaching him there.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Ricky trying to come up there. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to venture a guess on how many cars you think you're going to have? I promise that I'm not going to hold you to it here.
Oh, well, I have 23 that are pre-registered.
Okay.
So that's a good count. And was I upset by my pre-registered number? Yeah, I'd say so because I gave a big discount for entry fee to
Right.
pre-register. It's
Right.
going to be $300 at the racetrack, but I'll allow people to pre-register for $200.
Yeah.
And the registration fee was a conundrum that I was wrestling with too because I am paying so much money. I'm like,
Yeah.
how much do I charge? So I I settled on, all right, I'm gonna do a big pre-registration drive at $200, and then it should be big enough. You should go ahead and register, and that's $300 at the racetrack.
Yeah.
So you're starting. You're making $700 by starting the race
Yeah.
from if you still show up.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is still a lot of money to start a race.
It's one of them too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot easier time paying a higher registration fee if
Mhm.
it goes to like back in the day. I had somebody that was trying to do a race that they were talking to me about it, and they were gonna charge a giant entry fee.
Mhm.
And it was like 1,500 to win. And it's like your start money is less than your entry fee. They're like, well, yeah, I got to pay for this. I got to pay to win somehow. And it's like, okay, like, but I know that you have the backing of this, and this. And like, you're trying to walk away with here with 5 figures in your pocket, like that's what this person was doing. And, and we talked about it. I'm like, you were not going to get racers at this high fee because like, I'm not going to pay if start money is less than my entry fee. Why would I come if I don't think I can win? And there's a lot of guys that are going to come support a race like that for 15th because it's 1,000 win, or 1,000 start, But if you're trying to charge a $400, $500 entry fee and it's $250 to start, like the math ain't mathing,
Yeah, the math
And
ain't mathing.
yeah,
It's a big conundrum because it's like not everybody can go out there and pay this kind of money and
yeah,
not get money back.
yeah,
And and that's why you see based on car count,
yeah,
because I think since I've been involved in racing and I'm involved in a track that's not, the healthiest in the world, and you see the stress on them, and you see the promoter, and you understand, and you see right before you do drivers meeting, you see, man, I don't know how I'm gonna pay these guys. It's real. It is real, and not every racetrack is throwing hundreds up when everybody leaves. The last car
yeah,
pulls out. They're not going. They're not
yeah,
doing that.
yeah.
Uh, now,
All I can
is
think
there?
of is the gif of the guy that's got
Yeah,
one. He's like,
yeah,
just
yeah,
a $1
yeah, yeah.
bill.
And then, but racetracks get accused of being greedy because they charge this and they charge that, and some is it ridiculous sometimes? Yeah, but when you start getting a peek behind the curtain, you understand. Not every track, not every track is sponsored in such a way where they can cut all the BS fees.
Yeah,
If you go to a track and they're charging your four wheeler and they're charging this and they're charging that, it's probably because they need help paying first that week.
yeah. See, I don't. This goes to me as a racer, right? Not me as a personality. I'm not speaking for anybody but myself. Okay, I don't mind if I go to a track and I see that it's the owner, and they're working their ass off and they are doing right by the racers. Like we have my local track, Springport. Donnie Ritter just announced that he's stepping down as promoter. Donnie is one of my favorite people I have ever raced for because everybody at the racetrack feels like they get screwed at some point. Something happens on the track, something happens with track crew, with a decision the track made, or an incident on the track. Like something happens, you feel like you get screwed. And Donnie's been out there 8 years. I've raced for Donnie almost every year for 8 years. And I went out there and I've had a few instances where something's went sideways, and I've been able to talk to Donnie, and his whole thing is, you come at me calm and we can talk professionally, right? If you come up, you're yelling and screaming at him, he'll yell and scream right back, which is pretty fun to see sometimes with other people because I don't do that. I haven't to him. I don't mind a situation like that where like the promoter and stuff is such a great guy that's willing to say, hey, you know what, man, I'm sorry tonight, man, we did screw you tonight, but I tell you what, next time the call could be close. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt the next time. But this time, I'm sorry, man. Yup, looking at it, after the fact. So I wasn't there. My guy made the call. He admitted later he made the wrong call. Blah blah blah. Racing for somebody like that, I don't mind a dollar here, dollar there extra. But we've had some times where I go to an event and it's like, okay, well, we got to pay to park, we got to pay for the ATV, we got to pay for the pit slab, we got to pay our entry fee, we got to pay for a pit pass, we got to pay for the 2-day pit pass. We got to pay to bring in food. We got to pay to bring in a drinks. We got to pay to park our hauler. We got to pay to exit. We got to pay to get.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, but you're not paying us that well. And like I did the math, and just purse alone, based off the people here, you're up 30 grand. Like, and that's not including sponsorship. Like that pisses me off. Like that's like I've raced an event like that where we did the math and it's like, hey, on our class, you're ahead $70,000. And that's assuming everybody brought 2 people. Those people brought 15. Like you're up $60,000. Like, why are we getting shafted so hard? But something like this where, I know you enough, Paul. You ain't rolling in money. Like I
Yeah.
know that, like, you don't have kids, you don't have the wife, so your
Mm.
expenses aren't quite as high as some people, but
Yeah.
you don't work a job paying you 7 figures. So like
Mhm.
for you to step up and pay this and have 10 grand and 1,000 to start, like, yep, 300 is a big entry fee. And
Mhm.
if somebody comes down there and they break in the heat race or break in a B main and they don't make that 1,000 to start, yeah, like I could see somebody
Yeah,
might be a
that
little upset
sucks.
about
Yeah.
that. That
Yeah.
sucks,
Yeah.
but somebody who comes down there and they're like, man, I'm probably the 35th fastest car out of 36. And they manage to have a good heat race and they lock in and it's 1,000 to win and they're taking
Mhm.
home, or 1,000 to start. They're taking home 700. I was like, that's pretty decent,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I
It's.
understand what you're saying. 300 entry fee. It sounds like a lot. Like I'm sitting up here in Michigan going, that's
Mhm.
kind of a lot. However,
Mhm.
I've never ran 1,000 to start race.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there might be something to
And,
that.
and the thing about this race too is the way I structured it. Now, I don't know if I kind of went back by allowing the fast guy to lock in. Maybe he's probably going to lock in anyways. If he doesn't have trouble in the heat race. But I want it to be hard to make a race. I don't want it to be a charity race. I am giving away provisionals, but guess what? You had to win a feature race to get a provisional. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you still had to earn it if you have to use one of those provisionals. But
Well,
you
you've only
know,
got 3 of them too. Like you've only got
yeah,
3 provisionals
yeah,
and
three.
yeah, and like and I've seen that too. Like I've seen a few where it's like, well, we've got our 2 highest running points finishers and we've got past champion provisionals and we've got past winner
Mhm,
provisionals and
mhm.
we've got promoter
And
provisionals and we got track provisionals and we're supposed to start
mhm,
24, but we'll start up to 36 and it's
mhm,
like, really? So,
yeah,
yeah.
and it's another thing too. And I'm only 24 cars are qualifying in, but I didn't want my provisionals to take away somebody's spot too.
Yeah.
So that's why my provisionals are on top of 24. A lot of series, they start counting at 20. At 20
Yeah.
is your
Okay, so you'll
provisionals.
actually start
Yeah.
27 if you need to.
20, well, no. So the way I restructure provisionals is 27 cars are going to start the race. The,
Okay.
the the
Okay.
only class that may not need a provisional is the Seahawk, the southeastern deal,
Yep.
because I don't know how many of them guys are coming. And
Gotcha.
Newman Presnell's bringing a CRA car, so
Yeah. So
it'll
he
go
should
down.
lock in.
Yeah, yeah, and he can't. Well, the thing with the Seahawk provisional is, from the get go, I said that has to be a Seahawk car. It
Okay.
cannot be. It cannot be a SCRA car. It
Awesome.
has to be a Seahawk car.
Yeah.
So, because I want one of them cars in my race,
Yeah.
I opened it up to allow them to come. Will I get a whole lot of them? It doesn't look like it, but you know, there was an incident at Cherokee this year where a guy come up to me after Friday night and he said, "Man, I don't know why y'all just don't let them Seahawk cars race with y'all." Well, there's some rule differences, and what Seahawk allows. Now head to head, SCRA car is always, or not always, it's going to outrun
Yeah.
a Seahawk car. That's just
Top
how it
top
is.
10
Yeah,
SCDRA should drag the top 10
yeah,
as
yeah,
Seahawks.
because there's
Yeah.
there's there's stock engines. There's stock
Yeah.
engines,
Yeah.
but and this is not me trying to start anything between
Yeah.
SCR.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just
They're
the
2 different
facts.
series with
Yeah,
2 different
yeah,
rule sets, but you
yeah,
got
yeah.
guys. This is not up for debate. There are guys in SCDRA with over 320 wheel horsepower. Waters has posted the dynos.
Mhm.
Seahawks supposed to be like buck 40, buck 50, buck
Yeah,
60. And
yeah,
as
yeah.
much as some of these guys will go, you only need 180 to win. Sure, bro.
Mm.
That's why you have 310, But 320 horse, 300 horse, 290 horse, if it
Mhm.
is not dragging 160, 180 horse,
Yeah,
they need to go
but
back to that whole setup thing. Like
yeah, yeah,
100 horsepower is massive. So, but they are 2 series
yeah.
with 2 different
Do different rule
ideas,
sets.
2
Yeah,
different rule sets.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's not,
And
you
and
know,
and Seahawks great. I mean, I went to one of their races this year.
yeah,
Their fields are definitely tight. A
yeah.
lot. I mean, they remind me of what's that? What was that? the thing Mark Martin won championships in.
I rock.
IROC. It
Yep.
reminds me of IROC when they go around the track because they're like all on the gas and they're not like spread out. There's not like a big difference. They're kind of just all close and like they inch a little closer and they inch farther
VCTS
away.
is
Yeah,
Yeah, VCTS is honestly like that for a lot of their races.
yeah,
Like the field qualifies really tightly. They don't all
yeah.
race that well, and not, they spread
Hmm.
out as they race, but that intake restrictor tightens that field up like crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
Bristol this year was like, it was like 7/10 was like first fast time to last in the A main. Like that
Hmm.
first year we went down there was like 2.5 second difference in the A main, like that intake restrictor bunches it up, that's the Seahawk cars. That's the thing, is when you don't let them
Yeah.
have giant horsepower differences, it tightens
Yeah,
things up.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Titan say. But anyways, back to the guy.
yeah,
A guy come up to me and said, "I don't know why you just won't let them Seahawk guys run with." Well, the whole thing about letting them run with us is the Seahawk allows things that the SCDRA doesn't. And it was our series race. You don't start
yeah,
when you run a series race. You don't start like
yeah,
allowing this and allowing that. It's like the
yeah,
Lucas Oil late models coming into your track. You're going to run by their rules. Like that's
yeah,
just how it is.
yeah,
And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So you know, like I was like, man, it's our series. Not my series, but
yeah,
our it's our
yeah.
series. You can't expect to change the rules. It would have been cool. If something had been going maybe 4 months. But anyway, when I was doing my race, I was like, maybe I will allow them. And so that's what that all came up to. And I called that man. I'm like, hey, he's like, hey, you might get some cars, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I did it. Now, am I going to get a whole lot of them cars? It doesn't. I know. I know of. I know of one for sure. MK Seahawk car that's coming, but I think some stock cars that are coming that are local stock cars or some that are other places are going to run under that rule set.
Yeah.
Is what I think is going to happen.
A big thing that I can tell you, when you start combining rule sets like that, like when you have what should be faster and slower, right?
Mhm.
I personally don't ever have an issue with it. What I have an issue with is when you do that, and because guys in the Seahawk, and this is one thing I don't necessarily agree with their rules, but I don't run it. They're doing well, so I'm probably wrong. I don't agree with the body rules. I
No,
hate
I
the way
don't.
so
I
many of
don't
those
like the
cars
body.
look. I don't
I
like
don't
the way they
like the
look.
body.
Okay. I can understand it. I just don't like the way they look. I think they
It's a
look
Carolina thing. It's
goofy,
it's
right?
just it's a Carolina thing. Yeah, they do it
But
in all their classes.
but if you put an all aluminum body on like John's car, on Mr. Wyndham's
Mhm.
car, or Andrew Smith took all the steel off his car, if you start doing that where you've got guys that are trying to mix a little bit, we take the good body weight rule from over here, but we have 300 horsepower over here and we just kind of meet them in the middle. That's
Yeah,
where things really start to get to be a problem.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and that's why it's like, I'm okay mixing that, but you bring the car to your rule book and I need you to know we're going to take your rule book. I don't
yeah.
care if you're the slower
Absolutely.
class. Like, you
Hmm.
do some stuff you shouldn't, like, you can get busted. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. And that was the whole thing is I don't want somebody to throw a hog and a Seahawk car down there and use their rules as an advantage.
yeah,
That was so from the get go, no mixing, no matching.
yep,
My tech man has experience in both classes, so he's able to tech both series
yep.
accordingly, and they'll get a sticker in pre-tech, and they'll run under that rule set all weekend long. You know.
So if you're down there and you're supposed to have 150 horsepower Ecotech and you're suddenly going toe to toe with Wyndham down the straightaway, you're gonna expect to have to show something inside that motor, just so everybody's aware.
So, but hey, if all tech works out like it normally does, it usually gets super stupid slick,
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah,
maybe them lower horsepower cars can compete.
yeah. The year I came down there, Stark was leading, and you could visibly see he did not have the power that guy, like John had, Walker had, Andrew had, Gibson, like you could tell Stark that he had power. Don't get me wrong. Like
Mm-hmm.
Stark, he didn't show up with no stock SR20, but he didn't have
Mm-hmm.
the power they did. Dude, he was in the gas so much earlier than them. Like it was working. Like he was losing the
Mm-hmm.
dragways down the straightaway, but he had such a jump. And that is the thing with the Seahawk car is, if you can get through the corners and you can get in the gas and you can put power
Yeah.
down five
Yeah.
car lengths quicker, yeah, you can have a good run. But you and I both know,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell when somebody's got an extra 100 horsepower
Oh,
they should,
absolutely,
so
absolutely. But to button this up because
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
you
some
got to
people
make sure.
expecting me for dinner.
Yeah,
So 10,000 to win, 1,000 start. I got all kinds of contingency money. I mean, everything you can think of, there's money going towards. I got a $500 fast time. I got two guys paying $300 a piece for a long tow, so that's $600 for a long tow. I got a
are
halfway
you
lap
doing
leader.
are you doing 2 long hauls, or are you gonna do both of them to one money?
I didn't think about that. I
You
mean,
could
if I,
you
yeah,
could
I
do,
could do
I mean,
both.
just
I
something to
could,
think about, is you
yeah,
could
yeah,
do
absolutely,
the longest
absolutely.
haul and then the second longest haul, just,
I could
just
do
a
that.
thought, just a
I
thought.
could do that. I had to get with my sponsors about it. Um, I got
You got heat
random
race
money.
wins,
I got
uh,
250 to win heat race. I got random money going
you
to,
got hard luck, I believe,
yeah, hard luck.
hard charger, um, yeah, those are just the ones that I can remember you have, like,
Yeah.
I think you've got some that's like 7th place on lap 7 or some
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that, like, yeah,
I got 11th place on the lap 11, $100. I got the leader of lap number 12, $100, and I think that's only a lap leader. Or I got, a halfway lap. I got a most laps led. I mean, there is money. It's like 4 grand worth of
yeah,
contingencies.
yeah,
So, and I need to hire somebody to keep up with all that because I don't know how I'm gonna keep
next
up
year,
with it. Yeah, but I
next
think,
year,
yeah, I think, I'm gonna pay people as it happens, especially on Friday night, get them people paid,
yeah,
cash
yeah,
money, and then I'll try to keep up with it Saturday night. And anybody I miss, I'll just get a hold of when I get home, and I can sit down and figure out who is who on what when there. I'll start sending money out.
yeah,
But we practice tomorrow night, six to 10 o'clock. Uh, it's open practice, so any class can come. So there might be modified late models, sprint cars, Crown
track's
Vic,
just
stock
open,
cars. Open. It is open track. Um, then we come back Friday night. Friday night will be hot laps, qualifying, heat races. That's all they'll be running. Crown Vic will run a full show on Friday night. Then sprint car are doing a control practice on Friday night, so we'll fit them in throughout the night to do practice sessions. Come Saturday, we'll run our B mains and feature. So we ain't got a whole lot to run on Friday. And listen, if a whole bunch of cars show up, I'll run a non-qualifiers race. But as of right now, I don't have a non-qualifiers race scheduled. But if it gets to the point where all these racers aren't making the race, if it's like, a whole bunch, then I'll do a non-qualifiers race. But
listen, if 60
uh,
cars show up and all pay the entry fee, Paul will give you a race. All right.
yeah, 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 pretty
It'll be
much.
75 to start and it'll be 90 to win, but you'll get a
Yeah,
that
yeah,
just be much,
yeah.
don't take the part.
It'll be something.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I don't have a non-qualifiers race plan. I have a very, 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 very cool trophy being made, and I just got a sneak peek of it a few minutes ago. And it's not copying Volusia, but think Volusia. So if you ever wanted a gator, you're gonna get a gator. So front wheel drives don't run at Volusia for a gator, and it's not a copy of their trophy. It's a
Yeah.
custom trophy
Yeah.
with a gator on it.
Alligator's an
Yeah,
alligator. All right. That's
yeah,
they like
yeah,
Volusia doesn't have a
yeah,
copyright on an alligator.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But no, it's probably going to be one of the coolest trophies you ever see. So,
Yeah.
and I wish I had this trophy a week ago because I advertised because I know how important awesome trophies are to racers.
Well, hey,
When
you'll
you
get it,
look at
folks.
that, you're like, man, I'd love to have that at my house. Uh,
Well, the neat part is that everybody's going to be able to see what you do this year so that
yeah.
next year they'll know they need that trophy. You
Yeah,
know,
and it's free grandstands all weekend long. I mean, I don't know if probably anybody watching this ain't driving this to come watch a race. But if you are, All Tech Raceway free grandstands all weekend long. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come hang out, bring a chair. I mean, they may not allow chairs with so many people there. I expect a whole bunch of people. I expect outside of Bristol, I expect this to be one of the biggest crowds for a front wheel drive race ever. So there we go. Hope that we had some sponsors come in to the racetrack and pay the racetrack for free grandstands. So there's a
That's
whole list on All Tech Raceway's Facebook page. But yeah, so the gates are open. There ain't going to be a ticket taker there. You're just going to walk right in and enjoy the races Friday and
that's
Saturday
awesome.
night.
Hey, listen,
Uh,
if you're watching this and you make it down there and you get in for free, does All Tech serve alcohol?
they sell beer.
Okay. Look, if you're a beer drinker, leave the cooler at home. Okay. You're
Yeah.
getting in for free. Go spend a little extra.
Concession stand wide
Love the concession
open.
stand.
You know,
Okay. Just
yep.
listen, you're getting it for free. It's supporting supporting what Paul's trying to do here. 10 grand to win, 1,000 to start. If you're getting in for free to watch that, watch some sprint car stuff like that, just leave the cooler at home, leave the food at home, take everybody you know to get in for free. What better time to take the 5 people that you've never taken to a racetrack, that have never seen racing, to get in for free? What better time? So yeah, I honestly, man, I wish you the best. I know that you think you're doing this some big weird wrong way and not promoting it right and stuff, but honestly, dude, knowing you, knowing how you operate, knowing the audience that you've built on Facebook, knowing the friends that you have, the acquaintances you have, I think you were doing it Paul's way, and I think that's what's important. Like this is not some big, this isn't Eldora putting on, the Million or the Dream. Like, this is Paul putting on a race for Paul Series, and I think that's the important thing, is that you remain authentic to who you are and what you do. So
Yeah, and when it comes to date, that's a big thing. Is hey, I want to go to the dome just like you do. I've been 2 times. I went last year. The dome is an awesome experience. But when we started getting down to it, if we were going to run this race this year, and this was in conjunction with the guy that's doing the sprint car race, Brandon Gruball. It's a he doesn't want to call it a memorial race, but it's for his dad. Sprint car
okay,
race for his dad. 4,000 to win, 400 to start. 1 day show. It's the 360. It's Top Gun sprints in conjunction with the ASCS Hurricane Area Super Sprint. So, uh, that's going to be a big deal, and I know that's going to draw a lot of people right there. So I ain't got to worry about the crowd.
yeah,
Free grandstands plus sprint cars. You're going to get a badass compact race
yeah,
involved in it too.
yeah,
So, but when I come down to this, there's about 3 things that are hurting me. It's not a sanctioned race. It's not an NCRA sanctioned race. That I'm finding out that that's really important. It is important because here's what I'm finding out. It's not about the size of the race, but if it's a series race, people somehow figure out how to get there. No matter what, they figure out how to get there. When it's not a series race, it's like, man, I'm sucking eggs right now. I really just need to calm down. I just can't afford to go. It's understandable. I get it. Time of year, that's a big thing. Time of year, date, time of year. And let's be honest, location is a big thing too. We're in Florida. We're not in Beckley where 90 cars showed up.
yeah.
You know, I
You're
can't.
you're you're trying to draw
Yeah,
cars from like this. You're not trying to draw cars from like this. Like, you're trying to
yeah,
funnel them down to a point
yeah.
versus just
And and
drawing
I
big.
and I understand that, and there for a little while I was kind of depressed about it. I'm like, man, I'm paying all this money. Why ain't these guys coming? But listen, I understand, and I'm not mad at you if you can't make it. I've had conversations with a couple of people this week, and they just can't make it, and that is what it is. I'm not going to be mad at them. We're going to run a badass race, and if you can't make it, we'll be live on TV. XR Plus will be live.
I was gonna ask if we could
Yeah,
watch it
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
So
XR Plus. Barry's been teasing it for a little while. But let's put it this way: the fact that I'm streaming at All Tech Raceway speaks volume. because the thing doesn't stream anything outside of local on the front series and the short track super series that comes
Yeah.
in. When it comes to their other big events, their local big events, they don't stream them. They
Yeah.
got interest all the time. Their biggest race they run every single year, the Powell Family Memorial, is not a streamed race. But so that just shows you, how
Yeah.
their feeling is on
Yeah.
streaming, and the fact that this is being streamed, and the fact that the grandstands are free, that speaks volumes. So
You
definitely,
got
if
a
you
lot
take,
going for you, Paul.
yeah,
You got a
yeah,
lot going for you too. Like I know you're sitting here saying
mm,
you got these things going against you, but dude,
mhm.
free admission is going to draw fans in,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and a badass
Exposure,
trophy
you
is
can't.
going to set people up, and being able to actually stream it. And I have my opinions of Race XR after going to one of their events that may or may not change, as the more we go through. But
Mhm,
they've done some good stuff, and the fact that
mhm.
they're willing to stream it, and you got the stream going, like, dude, you got a lot of good
Yeah,
stuff going for you. And
yeah.
23 cars registered.
Yeah, it just kind of worked out for him to stream it, hunt the front. There was some talk there with them coming in, but they ended up going to Golden Isles. They're running a crate show this weekend, so um, XR Barry's coming down. They're running that big crate race next week, and that starts on Wednesday. So he's like, "Well, I'll just come on down and stream your race too."
That's
So
awesome.
that's kind of how that worked out. But yeah, support us. Buying a subscription not going to. I'm not going to get any money from that, but if you want to watch the race, buy a subscription. I'm not getting paid for the stream.
Barry's going to be able to
Yeah,
see how
yeah,
many
the
people
metric,
bought it
and
and
I will,
streamed it. You know,
I will say, since this has all happened, there's more conversations about other things. So, yeah. So, just a little teaser out there.
hey,
Um,
hit at me off the record after a bit. I can keep secrets, like as the Paul News Network has been retired and understands. Like sometimes you got to keep stuff close to the chest. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
well, you keep
So,
looking off screen like somebody's waiting just to give you one. And to be honest,
just people walking around.
you said we had about
Yeah,
15 to 20 minutes, and it's been an
yeah.
hour.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
do,
we get long winded on here. I should be a preacher, right?
brother, if I could get paid per minute to go live, I'd just keep doing 5.5 hour shows with you. So,
Let me ask you before we get off.
yeah.
Has your money from Facebook drastically dropped?
Yes and no. Part of my money from Facebook is dropped because I have not put the effort in that I should.
Hmm. Hmm.
However, there was a period of time where Facebook was really trying
The
to,
bonuses, the bonuses. Yes.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
just say, so I usually don't like to talk about money publicly because people
Yeah.
think that I'm getting like insanely rich from doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Let's just say I've
Hmm.
still lost more money than I've ever made doing this. But there was a point where Facebook, they were paying me bonuses for if I went live for 10, 20, and 30 hours a month. I got money
Hmm.
for that. I got that 3 months in a row. And then I got a bonus for every subscriber I signed up. A subscriber was $5, and I got like $4 and change of that usually. And then
Hmm.
Facebook was paying me $20 per subscriber. We had a pretty big push on that.
Yeah.
I had 1 month that's, let's just say, was really good.
Hmm.
There was yeah, really good. I had a few
Yes.
months, but that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, it's still my best month ever for ads, which if you're watching this later, there might be an ad that plays at the end. My best month ever for ads has been $5.63.
Yeah.
And that was when one of my posts went viral and got shared in a group, and I got a bunch of hate comments all over it.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
best
So
way.
I was getting these 4 times, 2 time bonus, and the only money I was really making on Facebook was just content,
Engagement.
just
Yeah.
post. That's why there for a while I was shit
There's
posting
a
everything.
there was a
You go
fat minute
to
Paul was
yeah,
posting 5 or 6, 7, 8,
yeah.
10 times a
Yeah,
day.
you go to the racetrack and you take a picture of something that's not really that crazy, but you
Yep.
take a picture of it and it's insane what it does on Facebook. Like I took a picture of a car hauler, like a regular car hauler that you see hauling cars
Yep.
to a
Yep.
dealership, and I'm said, and it had a street stock on the back of it, and I'm like, hey, that's a cool,
Yeah.
whatever
Good
made that
dealer.
post go,
Yeah.
and it goes viral, and you make money off of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, my best month, and I don't care if I talk about money. I mean, I'm paying $37,000 this weekend, so
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
Facebook money
You
don't
make a
matter.
couple dollars off Facebook,
Yeah,
brother.
but my best month was earlier this year in the summer when I was going to a lot of races. I made almost $1,000 off Facebook in 1 month, which is great for somebody. Now I never consider myself a content creator. I was just a
Yeah.
shit poster.
Yeah.
Like I was just you know throwing
You were
stuff at the
you were
wall
you
hoping
were
it sticks.
informative.
Yeah,
You were
yeah, yeah,
informative. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So and then I go back all my stuff that doesn't do good. I just delete it. It is what it is. Uh, but after that month, it drastically dropped
Yeah.
to where
Facebook has
like
given up.
yeah,
Facebook has
yeah,
just given up. It's just
yeah,
Facebook. They for whatever reason
yeah,
they changed and they decided
yeah,
they just decided they don't care. Like
yeah.
streamers, like they were actively recruiting gaming streamers and stuff like that and
Hmm.
paying them really well. And then the
Hmm.
bottom just fell out and they just decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And a bunch of people went over to I think they're Kick now.
Hmm.
Kick is the big one, and then they got Twitch and YouTube and that, but, which we are live on YouTube tonight too. I haven't seen any
Oh,
YouTube comments, but we are live on YouTube, but I ca
so yeah.
I will say this, the the months that they gave me the 10, 20, 30 hour bonus, those bonuses were worth $500. So 10 hours
Hmm.
was 500, 20 was another 5, and 30 was
Hmm.
another 5.
Yeah,
Um
that's a big month right there.
That was not the highest paying thing that month.
Yeah,
So my
yeah.
my best months have been a little better than that, but again, that part of that is a subscription. At one point I was almost to 200 subscribers. We were going live. I was averaging 40 hours a week going
Mhm.
live, and making content and stuff like that.
And
So
Facebook and this is going down another rabbit hole. We're talking about Facebook, not racing. But last thing I'll go with is I got a friend of mine that's very big into racing content, and he pretty much was living off of Facebook,
yeah,
and working events. He's a video guy, and
I know who you're talking about. Because
yeah,
they
but
now they post about how upset they
they
are at
pretty much
Facebook right now.
they pretty much pulled the
Yeah.
rug out from under them, and they don't. Facebook doesn't tell you what strike is against you, like what caused you to lose everything, and they won't. And so
Facebook
it's one of them
Facebook
things
is
that's
the worst for showing you actual metrics and stuff.
yeah.
And as your buddy can attest, if
Mhm.
you ever get some time with him alone, ask him to show you the metrics of Facebook and YouTube, and
Oh
you
yeah.
will be like the amount of stuff YouTube is like, hey, in the first 3 seconds of this video, here's how many people came in, here's how many people exited, here's where they're coming
Mhm.
from, here's the keywords that they're clicking on, here's what they're searching for. Meanwhile, Facebook's
Mhm.
like, yeah, so somebody from Australia watched. And you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, cool. Thanks."
Well,
So now I will say this, if you're watching and you're curious how this is relevant to you the last couple minutes, Paul just posts on Facebook, okay, and made money,
yeah.
okay? If you have a race car, do you know another place that you can make content super easy, super fun, and get paid for it? TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok, Facebook, okay,
TikTok's
Instagram.
one of TikTok's one of them things I haven't figured out, and I've had. I'm not going to say I've had viral means 250,000 views
Yeah,
or 1
yeah,
million views,
yeah,
or you feel like it's viral, but it's really not. It's really not viral. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to get off here soon, so we'll you can go ahead and close our interview out
You're
how
good.
you want
You're
to.
good. Paul, I appreciate you, man. Who do you need to thank really, really quick? Give me your top one or two. Because
Uh,
we'll have you back on to talk about it afterwards.
yeah,
Maybe we'll
yeah.
do that. We can some lessons learned or something. Who do you really have to give a shout out here for this?
Just All Tech Raceway. I appreciate Kelly. I that's one thing I went to him. You know, want to do this, blah blah blah. Uh, and then everybody, all the sponsors that have helped out. Carrie's Tree Service, they're my main title sponsor. I got a couple of sponsors that are sponsoring the yellow flag, green flag, restart zone, things like that, and that's money I was able to put back in my pocket. But I also would like to thank all the people that are helping the races get to the track and make some money. One of the guys that's helping out, this guy sent me like $800 for various different things,
Wow.
and some guy said he needed some help, and this guy reached out to him and it's like, "Hey, I want to help you out. Help me get to the track." There's a lot of helping out, a lot of people. But like I was saying, especially somebody's message just popped up there.
I
That's
yeah,
weird.
I put it up there.
Yeah,
Sean says it's a
yeah.
Midwest goodbye.
Oh, oh. But anyways, there's a lot of people that have helped out, and I
Yeah.
can't name them all. One of these times I'll get a post, you know, a nice, neat post that says everything that everybody did. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep up with, and I just got a little notes folder that's got
Yeah.
everything in it. But yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And we'll see how we do this weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a badass race and there's a big highlight video, and we can go viral like we did in Bristol. And they'll talk about us the week instead of the dome for a week. So,
We can hope.
yeah,
I feel like there's gonna be less banging and fighting at Alltech than there will be at the Dome, though. So
hopefully, hopefully the fighting
hopefully
part
for
is
your
not
sake.
there.
So
Yeah,
yeah. So well,
yeah.
good luck, man. I hope you get 50 cars. I really
All
do.
right. Yeah,
I
man.
wish you the best of luck, and good luck to anybody else that's going out there. So yeah. All right, we're gonna say goodbye to Paul. I'm gonna continue to talk for just a minute. So thank you, Paul.
All
And
right. Y'all have a good one.
yep, see you soon. All right. Paul, he literally told me he had like 15 to 20 minutes. So I appreciate that. I do want to just finish touching on what we were at the end right there. Okay. I know there's only a few of you left. First off, don't think that me trying to not talk about the money, like I am not making that much money right now doing this, especially because I haven't been doing this that much, right? I wish this paid the bills. I wish this made enough money that I could do the projects that I want to do. Unfortunately, it doesn't, and that's okay. But if if you wonder why it's important for you or why that might matter to you, if you are at a racetrack and you have your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, anybody who can run a phone, you don't even need a big, I've got my good camera. I take videos and stuff with. Like, you don't need that. You don't need, I could grab them. I got them somewhere here. I got my good microphones and I've got my interview mic and stuff. You don't need that. Like, you can take some pictures and videos with your phone and just post those pictures. Make a silly little TikTok. Have somebody film your car on the track. You don't necessarily have to go live. You can make a few extra dollars through TikTok, through Facebook, through YouTube, stuff like that. Like, even just reels. You can make a few extra dollars, and you might be surprised that extra 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 a month. $100 a month, I mean, that's $1,200 a year. Even if you just take that and you just throw it in the bank, and the wintertime comes or springtime comes, man, there's tires for the year. There's some rims. There's a set of cams. There's your gas money to go for the track. Like, I am not afraid of people making content in this space. Like, I love all of you guys. You can't do what I do. You can do something better. You can do something different. But you can't be front wheel discussion. And that's fine. You shouldn't want to be front wheel discussion, right? But you can easily make really good TikToks, okay? And hopefully I find them. I scroll through, I've got some front wheel drive guys that I follow. I got a couple I won't follow because I see some of the shit they do and I won't encourage it. But you can make some money doing it. And it's just exposure for you and for all of us. And it can be a really good thing. So take those pictures, take some videos, right? Like, the Outlaw guys. Oh, the name escapes me right this second. Is it Reed Christensen? Um like the Import Outlaw guys. They're getting monetized on YouTube now and they're making videos about them going racing. Like, you don't have to make how-to videos. You don't even have to be that good on camera. Trust me, this comes naturally to me. It's not that hard. So yeah, just consider making something. And listen, if you guys are anywhere near All Tech this weekend, go support that race. Paul's a great guy. He has done some really good things for racing. Not everybody likes him because Paul News Network used to share some scoops on stuff, share some drama. But listen, that's racing, right? Go support that race. Go support your local events. That's what I got for you guys and gals tonight. So I do apologize not keeping up with the comment section quite as much tonight. I didn't know how long Paul was going to run with us. So we didn't keep up with the comment section quite as much, but I do appreciate all of you guys and gals being here. And yeah, I'm going to go in, say goodnight to my kids. So I love y'all. We'll see you tomorrow night. We're going live again. And I got heat and all that in the studio. So we'll probably be back in here tomorrow night because I can turn the heater on early and stay warm. So, yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.